Hi, my name is Binta Tunkara, and I am a sophomore family science major. So, I took this class not knowing what to expect at all, but the last thing I expected was to be coming out so much more alert about everything that's going on around me. And after having learned about all the injustices concerning mass incarceration, it is my obligation as a Muslim to speak out against it now that I know about it. And the reference to that in the Quran is in chapter 4, verse number 135. It says, what can be translated as, O you who have believed, be persistently standing firm in justice, witnesses for God, even if it be against yourselves or parents and relatives, whether it is against rich or poor, for God is best able to protect to both. So do not let your own desires cause you to act unjustly. And if you distort your testimony or refuse to give it, then indeed God is well aware of all that you do. So, with that said, um, watching Prison State really allowed me to understand the realities behind mass incarceration. I mean, it's one thing to learn about it in class, and another thing to be just seeing what it felt like firsthand. The true impacts of mass incarceration on people's lives. I mean, there are $1 million blocks where almost everyone you know is or has been in jail or incarcerated one time in their life. And these kids pretty much expect to go to prison, and that's a very sad reality. And what we should be doing, what I realized even more from watching this documentary, is that what we should be doing is not locking people up. Rather, we need to be investing in the education of these neighborhoods that are so susceptible to mass incarceration. Um, we need to invest in providing them with quality education, um, giving them qualified teachers who really actually care for them and aren't just there to be there. We need to invest in the appropriate resources, etc. Like Professor Jody Armour mentioned, these kids have that same dream, that same American dream that they want to attain, but once they see that the system has failed them, they'll just try to attain it by different means, which is often through illegal means, selling drugs, theft, etc. But at the end of the day, this all boils down to our perception of people of color. Like Mark Bolton mentioned in Prison State, we need to distinguish between who we're mad at and who we're afraid of. But honestly, I feel like there's a very thin line between that because, while African Americans make up about 13% of the US population, they make up over 40% of the incarcerated population. And so this large disparity gives me the impression that the population that we are mad at is the same population that we're afraid of. And it reminds me of what Michelle Alexander said about how a lot of times people hold prejudice and racist views without knowing about it. So what we need to do is really take a step back and reflect on our own views about race. And after much reflection on my part, a friend and I are planning on starting a new organization on campus called United Muslim Advocates for Humanity, where we intend on discussing um, or raising awareness on issues from police brutality and Black Lives Matter to environmental sustainability and the effects of neocolonialism um, that we see today. Um, and a student in class, one of my colleagues, Aziz, mentioned the other day, he has a question. He asked, how do we make sure that slavery does not, come back in another form? And I think that's the answer. I think that it's standing up for injustice no matter where it is, no matter what form it takes, that we can really make sure that no form of slavery returns again, and to keep a very sharp eye for injustice and where we see it. And so, with that said, I challenge all of us, including myself, to really take that step to combat injustice, no matter where we see it, even if it's you know stopping that racist conversation at the dinner table. We don't have to be the ones all the way in the front of the protest and stuff. It can be as simple as that. Of course, we should build on that, but I think that's a very good first step. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you were able to benefit from this video, and have a good night.